until the dip keeps on dipping. and that's why I posted that today, is just because sometimes it's really hard, to find a process and then be disciplined and stick to it. So can you guys see my screen here? Let me,
Yep.
all right, let me switch my screen over to this center one actually. All right, let me switch this. There we go. All right, I'm just going to go through these leaders, and I think I might take a few off, and we might add a few depending after we're done talking tonight. But it is super chill night tonight. I want everybody to get a chance to kind of butt in here and chat. I really think I started to get away from our original Discords, and I think these Discords need to be more relaxed, more chill, more open, for everybody in here. And you guys can already tell, like some nights we have 30 people in this Discord, other nights, we have 10. And I want everybody, when you're in here, what's up, Jimmy? When you're in here, I want you to feel comfortable. I want everybody to have a better understanding. Hit me with the hardest questions you got, because if I can't answer them, it's going to make me strive to want to do better. So far, we haven't really came up with a lot of hard questions for myself, but I've been doing this for a while now, and I would love to continue to learn and get better. We've implemented a lot of strategies, but I have found recently, guys, that keeping it simple, oh my gosh, I'm telling you, while I'm working, I just feel like it's so much easier. So if you guys weren't with me the past 2 years, I have been just doing this from home, working on building a nice swing trading account, a community. And, I was getting so stressed out, focused on every tick of every day. And it's really not good for your health. But I was so obsessed with the market, and I'm so focused on wanting to do well in the market and be very successful from the market, that I started, day trading, and I was over trading and oversizing and doing all these things. But now that I'm back to work, I don't want any noise. I don't want any ifs, ands, or buts. I don't want any garbage popping me in. So I literally just use this technical analysis to do that. And I just think it's so important for everybody to just kind of like step back. A lot of times I'll even erase anything on this market Smith indicator, and I'm just getting this price action, because there's no real reason to just drown myself in a bunch of extra crap, and that's why we do best case scenarios. So we're going to be looking at a lot of daily charts and a lot of weekly charts today. And I just want to give a shout out to William O'Neill, because we always say, if you guys haven't already, read the How to Make Money in Stocks, that orange book. It's very, very important, because if we look on the weekly, that is how William O'Neill depicts all of his pictures and makes all of his notes in here. On those annotations are all on a weekly time frame. And so I think it's important that we do zoom out even further than the daily and stick to the weekly as well as the daily. So a few things that I like to do too is, like right here, I'm giving my best case scenario. Sometimes it's very odd how well these work out, and that gives me enough time in my head to say, okay, if this is what I want to see, then I have to give it time for it to actually play that out, right? And sometimes it might not go that far. It might only be one down with one new high or low on the weekly. But regardless, I'm giving myself time. I'm not trying to panic buy, fear of missing out buy, because really, if we look at this on the daily, this kava on the daily, you could see we're extended and we're getting a little choppy here, which is, I'm not going to say that that's odd or anything, but it's not what I want to be a part of. I'd rather be a part of what I'm expecting. And what I'm expecting is a handle off of this beautiful cup. And if we can get that, then I'm allowed more time for this expansion to contract again, show me what I want, and then take off. And then down here, the earnings, we can see, it's very nice and clear cut. We have that 25% across the board here, quarterly over quarterly, and you can see our EPS growing. So I like kava, but I'm just going to give it some more time. because it's just a little choppy. Now, there's always ways to like hindsight it and say, oh, well, when the 10 crossed the 20, or oh, when we broke through the 50, or whatever. And if you find your strategy that way, hey, I'm telling you guys, my hat is off to you. If you find something that works for you, then you should play it. But me personally, I have to wait for a trend base or a cup with handle, which usually the handle usually is a trend break or a base break. And so it's all really the same thing. All of our greatest leaders who paved the way for us are all playing the same shit. They're just calling it something different, you know. And you know, I'm a bear with bull horns. You got to see both sides of the subject. So you know, we see this beautiful cup here. We see that the bulls are in charge. The bears, they were in charge up until right here when we hit this new higher low. So it hit a new higher low on the daily, and on the weekly here, you can see this V-shaped type bottom. If we zoom in, it's not so V-shaped. So not a V-shaped bottom, but a rounded bottom here. So it's clean, it's crispy, and I like Kava. And you guys have known I've been a big fan of the chart of Kava all the way since this cup. I didn't play because earnings was a few days later, and then we had the earnings breakout, which would have been a nice play in the morning. But personally, the way I play this, I most likely would have been stopped out of this chart of that low of day if it broke through that low of day. If it didn't break through that low of day, that would have been a beautiful one to take. But anyway, we've been watching Kava for a while. I think you guys should too. Do you guys have any questions about this cup and handle, or any questions whatsoever? I don't care. Just it's open mic tonight, guys.
So could like have you, I've been trying to identify like possible leaders, and I think I found something, but what do you look for other than, you know, well, what do you look for in the leader? The above the 200-day moving average, I got that. Good earnings, I got that. Is there anything else to keep an eye out for?
Um, yeah, you want to see quarterly earnings. So I don't, when you're first starting out, I don't like to kind of like give you too much of the fundamentals to look for, but really you want to see at least quarterly earnings of 25% or more. You know, the higher the better, really. And same thing with the yearly. Like if you're looking for the leaders, it's most likely because they're expanding very fast and Wall Street can't keep up with them. And their expectations from the analysis, they just keep on beating those analyses. So if that happens, you're going to see expansion in the stock as well until it gets overly inflated, like some of our most recent AI tech stocks, right? So when you're looking for
Okay.
a leader, of course, it's a plus if it's in a hot sector. It's a plus if it is um, in a space that is a buzzword like AI or aerospace, or you know, a hot what word am I looking for? Oh, a theme. If it's in the right theme, that can contribute. Now, for me to say it's a leader and for you to say it's not, we've had arguments about that. We've actually had arguments about NNE, whether NNE was the leader or was it SMR. And for a while, I said it was SMR. I felt like SMR was leading the pack. It was a stronger stock, that it looked better financially, even though it still looks like dog shit. And I argued it for a while. Now it's not arguable. NNE has a new all-time high, arguably maybe on their fundamentals or their financials, of course, because it looks like garbage. But you know, they broke out to new highs here, and they're pulling back. They have an RS rating of 99, SMR 99 as well, but it isn't reaching those new all-time highs. Still, you know, a great stock. You could consider this part of being the leader too, but you gotta kind of tip your hat to NNE making new all-time highs and breaking this huge area of resistance as well. So I remember when I was talking to Beast Huey about this, I put not leader here, and so every time I pull up the chart, it would say not leader, but I had to switch it, and I switched it right there in front of them because you have to be malleable. You know, one day Netflix will be the leader, you know, and then the next day, you know, they're you know, they're doing this right here, right before earnings. They're breaking a 50-day moving average. so you have to be malleable. So what I'm looking for is leading, are showing growth in their sales and their EPS. And I want to see them doing well in their sector. They don't necessarily have to be numero uno, the very top, but they should be a fast grower in the sales and the EPS and all that stuff. Does that help?
Yeah. It's because I was looking at one called AGX, and they're up 1,800%, and I saw that where it's down right there at
Yeah.
the end, and so I was just
You were curious if
I
this is
didn't
a leader? So
yeah,
respectfully,
it's
just
up.
looking over the financials right away, when you see this, it's like, oh wow, that they have growth in their EPS and they have growth in their quarterly. And I am no like financial advisor. I'm just skipping over this. I didn't go to school for this crap. I'm just like literally looking at the information that they're giving me, and I'm going, oh well, their net margin is going higher, their revenue is increasing. And that's quarterly. What about annually? Yep, they're making money year over year as well. So this looks financially, it looks sound at first glance. When I look at AGX on the daily time scale, and I ask myself, is this a leader? Well, if it's a leader, it would be above all of its moving averages. It would be leading these
Okay,
stocks. This huge drop
got it.
off and it not being able to pull back up, well, the rest of the market, the S&P 500, the rest of the market getting closer to those new all-time highs, then you'll see somebody just subscribed while we're in here. That's crazy. Bandito. I don't know if you're with us, but thank you for subscribing. um, so yeah, the S&P 500 3 up days here. Well, AGX, it got smacked down and it's kind of being drugged down. But I'm not saying it can't come back because it looks like there is support here. But all I am saying is it's not leading. So this is industrial service and engineering. Okay. So if we looked at the industrial service, we could see, there. Well, it looks like Enbridge. We could just bring up Enbridge, excuse me, ENB. I'm kind of going out on a limb here, But so here, actually, this is kind of a good example. So you can see, AGX kind of had that big fall off, right? So if we go back to
Yeah,
AGX, they had this big fall off. Well, when they had the big fall off, they didn't pop back. Where ENG, they had that same big fall off because they're in that same sector. Where the hell?
that's a different stock.
I know, hang on. ENB. There we go. You can see that same fall off that they had. Well, they popped right back up into their areas, right back up, and they still made a new higher low here, where AGX made a new lower
Did
low. So here's a low, here's a
Yeah,
new lower low. Now, I'm not saying that,
that's awesome.
this double bottom, it might hold support. It might hold support. And if it does, and it gets back up into these areas, and gets back up into this area of resistance, maybe we get tight here. Maybe best case scenario, it comes up here and gets tighter like this before breaking out, But that's what I would have to see before I would consider this maybe a leader or, leading anything. Now, great for the watch list, though. Great for the watch list. Don't get me wrong.
Well, awesome.
And
Cool.
what was that other one? END?
That one was ENB. I imagine,
END.
yeah, and they have really good growth. ENB. I don't know how fast it moves though, Dan. So it only moves 2%. It only moves 2%, but nice trend.
Check out in the water cooler chat, I put an image that I got from Mr. What is his name?
Mr. Low Risk, probably.
The basic criteria that he uses. He doesn't get real deep into the fundamentals, but those are the
Financials. A
basic,
stock
yeah,
growing
basic.
EPS revenue by 50% the last 2 quarters and forecasting coming 2 quarters. A stock growing EPS revenue by plus 30 the last 2 quarters. Oh, so this is his ratings. The A minus, A minus, minus. Okay. So yeah, if the last 2 quarters they're up by 50%, it's an A plus stock. if it's 30% EPS and revenue, it's an A minus, and 30% in the last 2 quarters, and forecast coming to plus 30%, and 1 year of quarters can be below 30% is an A minus minus. So yeah, that's pretty high criteria, and that's, you know, that's if you can find that criteria with a trend or a base breakout where you're actually getting a very, very tight risk, where you're not having to risk all of this, or from the bottom of this to the top of this, or vice versa, however you're playing it, and just have to risk this small of an area, this tight of an area, that's the way you want to go. For example here, VSEL. Now, guys, I'm doing more of my research right now while I'm talking to you. This is a health technology. I'm kind of banking on health technology, and I'm also looking at CDNA. So I really want you guys to see this chart. I want you to see it on the daily, but I want you to see it on the weekly as well, okay? So you guys can see what I like, the new higher lows down here that it's putting in. It's starting to get into its, you know, it's starting to get tight in here, and it moves 7%. And if we go to the weekly, you can see it looks a lot cleaner here. A lot cleaner here. This could end up being something, but this doesn't look like it's leading to me, you know? So that's just one of those things. It's like, wow, it looks like this thing's really getting ready. You know, this thing really could break out, but, you know, is it going to hold up to that? And that's why these financials, financials, but healthcare and stuff like that, health technology, not so much, but pharmaceuticals, they hold, and biotechs, they hold their own weight, in the sense of they come with, what's the word I'm looking for? They come with baggage. You know, you can't control what China's going to do, so why buy China stocks? You can't control what the pharma, you know, what's going to get released, what news is going to get released that's going to dump the stock. Why play the pharmaceuticals? Why play the biotechs? I know biotechs were amazing in January and February of 2023, but, you know, this, and 2024, I'm sorry, I think it was 2024. But this time around, there's too much good stuff out there, you know. So if it's healthcare, this is healthcare. I don't mind keeping an eye on this, but pharmaceuticals, biotechs right now, there's no point in doing it. I was looking at Tesla. This thing, time and time again, has really chopped people out. Tesla still looks strong. I mean, look, it's still just made new all-time highs here not too long ago. And it's just coming back, and it's retesting that breakout area. Now, I'm not playing it, and I just think, you know, if we get tight and break the trend, it might be worth a shot. But I'm just waiting patiently, because there's still so much out there. There's so many good things, and I'm already in a lot of the things, you know, and I sat through all the volatility. So I'm just kind of chilling. CYBR, we were talking about this a long time ago, and I'm just going to throw some charts on here, or some lines on here for you guys. So like, this is the weekly time frame, and that's why I like the weekly time frame, because if you look at the daily, there's a lot more to kind of ingest here. Now with the daily, you can clearly see this area, you know, this top area of resistance and this bottom area of support. Now look, you see what we have right here? Exactly what I like to see. It's kind of hard to see it without these here. But let's take off the market Smith indicator, and if we just mark the tops and mark the bottoms, it makes things a lot easier. So like, even if we were here, you know, and somebody says, what do you think about CYBR? I would say, okay, well, let's do best case scenario. I would mark the tops, I would mark the bottoms, so we knew where support and resistance was. And I'd look at this thing and I'd say, well, our best case scenario for this thing would be to make higher lows. So we'd have to make a new higher low off of that bottom, come up, make a newer higher low, and get tight. This is how I would draw something out like this, you know? And then of course, I mean, now it looks like I'm doing this in hindsight, but that's literally what I just said about, I think it was AGX, was it? Did I just draw this out? I don't even know. But regardless, let's hit play. So this is your first new higher low. And see, that's set even lower than I remembered in hindsight. So here's our low. Here's our new higher low. And then we go, okay, I'm really excited for this breakout. I'm going to take this breakout. Well, there would be an issue with me taking this breakout for two reasons. One, if we do pull up now our Market Smith indicators, I'm assuming we're going to be, well, yeah, see, we're a little extended from the 10-day, but not nearly as much as I thought we were going to be. We are extended from the 10-day, but now I want to see a new higher low. I want to see that 3 higher lows minimum. All right, so we just play this through and we watch. Oh, see, a lot of people got trapped here. A lot of people got trapped here. I'm waiting for that 3rd higher low, and you can see there it is. Okay, now everything extra on this 3rd higher low is only getting us a tighter and tighter risk. Because if you wanted to play this and you thought this was the low, well, you have to risk from here to at least here, right? Or I'm sorry, if you're going to risk, you're going to have to risk from here to here. You would have to stop out, and that's 9%, right? But because we have this new higher low, if we take the breakout and wait, we can get a much tighter risk. So here's the next breakout. You could have taken that. You could have taken that. You could have tried that at least. It doesn't break out. Let's say even if you did or whether you didn't, I want you to show you something. And then you would see here it created, after a few more days, it created another new higher low. So even though if you were to get stopped out the first time because you did not use this area of risk, you could even re-enter using this new higher low. Meaning instead of taking this trade, trying to catch the bottom here, grabbing at 9%, then you could have waited for something like this where you're 5%. That's half, right? And if you're playing this basing breakout anywhere in this area, you could have gotten a much lower risk, 4.84%. So let's see, CYBR. CYBR moves 2.8%. So you're not going to make huge money over this overnight. But if you're buying a few shares of this, you can hold on to this safely, knowing that it has very good financials. It has 3 new higher lows and a basing breakout. That's a beautiful thing. That's exactly what we want to see in a trade. Now, this is a slower mover. This isn't going to, it's not a get rich quick scheme. It's not, 100, 200% overnight. No, this is what takes time, is building a small account. If you want to get rich quick, you can do it, but I call those people boom and bust. You start day trading, you start making $1,000, $2,000 a cup in 2 minutes. Yes, I've done it. But I've lost it just as fast. When you make that money that fast, your heart gets racing and it becomes more gambling than it does anything. You start playing with more emotion. Do you guys have any stocks that you want me to look up, or I'm just going to keep on going with these guys?
I have one.
Let's talk about it.
I want to talk about Rocket Lab. I'm sorry, someone else go ahead though. Who is it?
No, we're going to do
I was
Rocket
gonna
Lab.
say AVGX.
Okay, we can do AVGX. I think I remember talking about AVGX. Okay, so let's take a look at Rocket Lab. What's funny?
Can I say something real quick about it?
Yeah, please.
I'll tell you what my concerns and you can address them.
Okay.
So we've been watching this since, this thing started its up climb back like May.
Yeah.
Last year, something like that. And we've been watching it since at least June. And we've been in and out of it. It had that nice little stair step.
Oh, yeah.
Just that nice little smooth, you definitely tell it's going up. Then I guess it was about December it started getting choppy, which the whole market was. So I just kind of chopped it up to that. But it's continued to be choppy. And it almost feels like we're getting into a stage 3 now. So what are your thoughts on that?
I would really like to never put the fact that it could be going into a stage 3. It very well could be going into a stage 3. I think a little bit more time is going to confirm that, but it might go right back into its stage 2 because I like the way it's getting tighter. If you remember back here, I drew out perfect scenario. Remember this? I drew this out. And that's the same thing I was just showing you guys in the last stock. 3 new higher lows, 1, 2, 3, and then it breaks out here. instead, the market does not give a shit what I think. It does not care at all. And it decided to break above and then trade sideways, just like I was saying. Now, I stopped out on this day. I stopped out on Rocket Lab because I played the breakouts. I forget where I played it. Somewhere in this area. I want to say it was in the $30 area, so it wasn't my favorite take. Yes, it was 30. I was in the 30s, and I remember a couple of you guys had it at 28, and I was going, man, you know, what am I doing trading from my phone, you know, at work? I was kind of pissed off, and then I really asked myself, I said, no, I'm happy with what I took. I'm happy with the price I got, but I have to have a tight stop, because if I get stopped out on this, I'm going to be okay with it because I can get back into it. And so I did stop out for a very, very small amount. And this is the shakeout day for me. But it's getting really tight on top of its base now. So I have to agree with you. We really need to watch out for that. We also need to watch out for it just to continue to chop around here, which would be another sign of stage 3. This thing obviously lost its momentum a while ago, but now it looks like it's getting tight in an area that really is a pivot point. It's an inflection point. Like, anything can happen here. If it really breaks down from here and it breaks this 50-day moving average, if it breaks this trend line that I have drawn here, I'm not going to want to look at this thing, because I'm not going to be able to anticipate any move, and I won't be able to trade off those moves. But yeah, I can see that it going into a stage 3 and then, you know, either chopping around for a while or going into a stage 4. But yeah, for sure. I agree with you 100% on that.
Plus, we got earnings coming up soon.
David, they
Yo.
also had a like, it was not good news, but also was not bad news. It was that they were launching, but they could not launch because it was too many launches. So they were holding it.
Oh,
Yeah, that
okay.
actually ended up being a good thing for them, though.
Yeah,
They
so
popped up on that.
that's why it came down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
One thing though too, I want you guys to realize, or maybe not realize, I'm sure a lot of you already do, but I don't pay too much attention to the news. I really don't, unless it's an episodic pivot and I want to know why something went up so much if it wasn't because of earnings. So I think every little piece of news, I used to watch the news really, really close, and I used to find that the news would like fumble over each other to come out with a reason why a stock did what it did. When really a lot of the times it's just bouncing and it's doing its normal movement, and then people are asking to be fed information. It's what we do as humans. We want to know why for everything. There always needs to be an answer to everything, and that's why analysts are there. So the news may have done one thing or the other, but regardless, I think this is just acting normal. It's trending up, and until it breaks this area to the north side or breaks this area to the south side, I think we just kind of got to wait and see. I mean, this is fun. We've been rooting for this for a long time, and I don't think I've made any money off Rocket Lab. I don't think I've lost. Oh no, I lost. I think this is my first time trying to enter Rocket Lab, and I stopped out. I lost maybe 0.5 R on this trade, so I'm really happy with it. Taking small share size where I was at, but yeah, if this thing breaks out again, I don't want to miss it. But yeah, I definitely can agree with you on that. We gotta watch out for that for sure. But I do have my alert set at 29.34 to watch for that 30 break again. We'll see what happens. AVGX, no E, you're still here, right? Hello?
Yeah, I'm still here.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I'm here.
AVGX had this little breakout here. And this is the AVGO 2X long. Okay, so I want to look at AVGO. We don't want to look at AVGX if we're playing AVGO, because it's going to have bigger movements to the downside as well as the upside and it's going to just play off of this action. So when it comes to
Okay, I'm doing I'm doing AVGX, so you're saying look at AVGO? Is that what you're saying?
If you're playing AVGX, it's because you're playing it for AVGO, right?
Okay.
Like AVGX is the AVGO long. So why look at AVGX if you're actually playing AVGO? That's just, I mean, that's just how I see it. But you can still watch AVGX. I'm not trying to tell you that's wrong. But I would look at AVGO and I would say, you know, we have a broken trend. And I don't know what to think right now of chips. I don't know what to think right now of NVIDIA. I was very impressed by ARM and the way how well it's held up. It broke its trend and then pulled back and retested and took off again. To me, in the chip sector, I would say like this is looking very strong to me. Where AVGO looks like a broken chart, and so does NVIDIA. So short answer, I don't like the looks of it, but I also don't have any sense of direction on this. You know, is it right back up into the area of resistance where we're going to get sold off again? Is this a huge shakeout and it's going to continue doing better? Is it going to be the new leader? Will NVIDIA continue to reign? You know, there's a lot going on in the chip sector right now. I know this AMD had a nice pop on a down day in chips, and people went crazy. And look, it got sold off into. I mean, that's why you don't. This is why we don't play leaders, you know, or this is why we don't play laggers, is because financially everything is lining up, but technically it's not. So AVGO, all the financials are lining up, but technically for me, I mean, I can't play this broken chart. Now, best case scenario, if it did something like this and got tight, yeah, I could play that, you know. But this chart right here, it just makes me weary. I just don't want to be a part of a stock that can come out and get completely smacked up by some news from China. Whether the news is real about their numbers or not, it doesn't matter. I just don't want to be a part of a stock that can be completely changed and altered by another country and what they're saying and doing. It's just kind of my go-to. Like I'm trying to protect myself here, you know. So we'll see what's going to happen there. But those are kind of, I mean, I know I'm kind of beating around the bush here with AVGO, but I mean, I really don't know, man. You know, I don't know if I seen something nice and tight, something looking really good. I would want to jump all over it. For example, look at AXGN, close to what you were just talking about, but this is AXGN. Here's the daily time frame. You can see this beautiful base basing out here at 1888. And look at the EPS growth and the sales growth. They're both looking pretty good. It's not A++, but this is looking good on a technical standpoint. And this here is also health technology. So CDNA and AXGN are still on my list because if we look at XLV, which is the health tech, you can see right here, folks, this is beautiful. I drew that purple line out for you and we bounced off of that area. And now we're above the moving averages over here, which is a beautiful thing because if we can break above this area, there's your cup with handle. I'll throw it on the weekly. You might be able to see it a little better. There you go. Here's your cup with a handle. And if this goes to continue to take off, we're going to continue to see healthcare go even higher. This is our area of support. It was supported. Here's our area of resistance. It's broken through a little bit. Hopefully, there's two scenarios that I'd like to see. Another new higher low on the daily time frame where this pulls back and creates a new higher low. But this basing area in the daily, getting tight on a 10, is just as good for me. So I like it. I really think there could be rotation into healthcare. And I think we're going to be one of the first to be there with CDNA and AXGN. So, let me know if you guys are interested in those. ABRK, we're getting a nice cup and handle on this. Here's the weekly time frame. It looks good. I'm just going to set my alert really quick on this. So I took V-Cell today. You can see why I took it. This is health technology. You can see they got good EPS and sales growth. I took this and I took it right here at this basing breakout. Let me put this on the daily time frame so you guys can see it a little better. And you can see right here, I mean, it's very clear. Here's your base. Here's your new higher low right here. So here's your low. Here's your new higher low right here. Here's your new higher low, and this is the third one. So we have 1, 2, 3 new higher lows, and then you have a basing top. So just, I mean, because I call out to you guys and I tell you where I'm buying and what I'm trading and where my stop loss is. I think it's very important too for everybody to know when I get in, the best thing to tell you is where my stop loss is. Because I have no idea how much money I'm going to make off of a trade, but I know exactly how much money I am willing to lose on a trade. Meaning I like to let my winners run and I like to cut off my losers as quick as I possibly can. I don't like sitting with them. And that's one thing I've been very, very good with from the very start is being able to cut those losers very quickly. So make sure you guys are using stop losses or at least alerts so that way you can.
Man, should I go to bed?
Carl, what's up, buddy? Carl, should I go to bed?
Where did you buy that? Where did you buy that at? Like what arrow
VSell,
did you buy that at?
Hang on, I'll bring it up on my charting platform really quick. 62.37. So we're about break even. Let me.
But can you point at it like
Yeah,
where those arrows
of
are at? Those
course.
yellow arrows.
Of course. So I didn't buy at the yellow arrows. I just bought it today at hang on, let me see, 62.37. So 62.37. So right above this high, 62.37. Right here is where I bought. Because this is the basing breakout right here, just above this high. So I took it.
Wow.
After I seen it. Yep. And look, my risk is all the way down here. All right. So I'm giving myself this much risk. All right. Let me change the color of this so you can see it. All right.
So what is the percentage on that?
The percentage on this is almost 5%.
Okay.
Almost
that's
5%. The stock is 4.5%. So the average, it moves. My stop is a little wider than that average, which I like to see a little bit of a tighter stop. But I pulled this up. I like the health technology. I've been talking about it for a while. I like the basing breakout, and I'm giving myself enough room here. If I stop out of this, I'm only risking, I think, 0.5 R right now because I'm just dipping my toes into the water in healthcare. But the way I feel about healthcare is if we have continuation, I can actually try to add once again and maybe be a little bit better with it. Because if you guys don't know, the hardest thing for me is adding into a trade. I love to add. What's that?
Is that still playable now?
Is this still playable?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. Why wouldn't it be?
I would think it is. That's what I was asking you.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it's to your strategy and your process, for me, yeah, it's still tradable. I actually could add into this if it came down and bounced off of 60.76 because I only bought, I only bought 25 shares of this right now. So if it comes down, I could probably add another 25 shares and be very comfortable still using the low of today. What is that? 58.76, so just a thought, just kind of dipping my toes in the water. But you know how I am with adding. I suck at adding. I don't know. Have I brought up, I know I brought up Netflix before this, but guys, this is strength in the market. When you get an EPS growth quarter over quarter like this, like Netflix is doing, and the EPS growth, and then you get a huge gap up and it doesn't give back almost any of its gap up. It got up to that psychological 1,000, pulled back 4.5% after running up 14%. This thing held up 2/3 of its gains here, gets tight, and then starts to make new higher lows. And now for 2 days in a row has made new higher highs in the market. This is strength. This is the whole reason why I took NFLU. Absolute beautiful. I've got this on the 2x leverage, and it's ripping, and it's doing well, and it's extended So don't have fear of missing out. Don't try and get in now. Getting in is when I set it in the Discord. Really, the trend breakout. I played this retest right here on this day. So I missed it the first time. And I really thought about it. I said, well, if I was a part of this right now, would I be happy with where I got in after this, only this amount of consolidation? And I said, yes, I would be, because this is a stock in play. This had a huge earnings beat, and it's holding up while the overall market had so much turmoil. Netflix traded sideways. So I was very happy to get this retest, taking this trade on NFLU right here in this area, and I held. And I mean, it's just beautiful, guys. It's beautiful right now, and closing up here too. That's a big, big sign when you close this strong. And get this, guys. If you guys haven't listened to me like at all throughout the whole show, I want you guys to hear me out right now. We're going to talk about the S&P 500 really quick, because everybody has their favorite stocks. Everybody is looking at something different. And I would say, a lot of us are on the right track. A lot of us are on the right track. We're at least looking at typical trend and base breakouts. Some of us are going as far as to looking into the financials just at least at a glance to get better at them. And we all like to see the market direction continue to be bullish. We have had deep view thrown at us. We have had tariffs thrown at us. We have had bad earnings get thrown at us, but the market is still raging forward. We've created a new higher low on the S&P 500. It's an absolutely beautiful thing, guys. And I think everybody should know it pays to be positive, and the market's working out. Now, if we break this low, you're going to hear me be a little nervous. You're going to hear me sweat a little bit. And I was fine with the market. After we hit this third new lower low, I was nervous. Don't get me wrong, but we made a new higher low off of this, and we continued to break new all-time highs. That right there took a lot of pressure off. Now it's creating another new higher low. So if I zoom out on the weekly, this is what I see, guys. I mean, this makes it a little bit more simple. We're in a channel. We're just kind of in the middle of that channel. There's a lot of volatility, as there should be. And we're still channeling to the north side, and things are looking really good. We've gotten a lot of what people might consider fearful or bad news thrown at us, and we're still chugging along. We still have leaders leading right now. We're making money in this bull market. And if you're not, I can tell you it's because you're oversizing, because you're looking at shit stocks, and you don't have a process. And it's okay. Trust me, it's okay, because even when you do have a process, you use risk management, and you're not looking at shit stocks, there is still another frontier, and that is when to sell when you're in profits. I went over that with Swolzenberg a little bit today. There's discipline, knowing what you shouldn't be doing and not doing those things. It feels good to trade. You feel like a smarty pants, like, oh yeah, I just bought 70 shares of Google, however snooty you want me to hear. You're wearing a monocle and a top hat, you feel cool when you trade. You're putting on a trade, you're gambling, you're pressing buttons, you have that dream of making money. Once you realize that this is a business and it's not a game, that's when you're going to start making money. So honestly, I almost feel like a preacher at times. I really do. And I used to go to church all the time and hear the preacher preach. And I swear, I feel like I'm doing that from time to time, because people need to hear this. People need to hear, put your damn stop losses in. Oh, whoops, I couldn't do it. Okay, well, you deserve the pain that you're going to go through losing that $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 because you decided that you couldn't sell now that it broke through your stop loss. And when you're doing the same repetitive things over and over again, you have to find a way to stop yourself, and that's the discipline, And that's, guys, that's why we do this charting. That's why we go over everything, because I think it's really, really important that everybody at least has a template of what we're doing here. And we've been bullish since October of 2023. Here, where are we at? November, December, Yeah, right here. Right here. Yeah. I was wondering if this marked the low. I even have a video out, and I've been bullish since March of 2020. Oh, that was 2022. I think it was just turning into, yeah, just turning into 2023 because of the new higher lows. Okay. But yeah, we've been bullish here since then. We survived the bear market. We survived COVID. We've been here, baby, and we're going to keep on being here. And we're going to keep on learning from this market. And all we can do is take the chart, take the data, take the analysis one day at a time, and be malleable. If this data changes and these structures changes and we are changing direction, then we're going to change our mind and we're going to be risk off. We're going to be focused on conserving our capital. But right now, we're in a bull market. We're in a bull freaking market. That's why we identify these leaders like Reddit, like App, like Google, which now Google had a pullback. But just so you guys know, this is still a cup with handle. If this holds this area, that's a good sign because it's still a new higher low on the weekly. You know, I'm just throwing that out there too. You know, that everybody's upset about Google. Oh, Google, a huge pullback. Well, it's not. It's not. It's still a new higher low from 2 weeks ago. You know, that things are still looking good, and I'm really excited for the future, guys. If you can't hear it in my voice already, look at this. Look at this beautiful meta trade. I mean, this is why we watch leaders, guys. If you keep watching leaders like this, now look at Root. I was just talking to B. Stewie about Root today. I mean, look at this beautiful yearly basing breakout. I even did a YouTube video specifically on this stock, you know. Can't catch them all, but look at Root go, baby. All right, I think that's going to wrap up tonight's ticker talk. I did record it tonight. It was kind of a little bit of everything, but I like doing this, man. I like going over the charts and BSing. And yeah, I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you letting me talk. But I will be right back. Anybody that wants to hang out and bullshit for a little while longer, I'll be back in about 5 minutes. But with that being said, I hope you guys have a good night.